Hello, I'm Maria Hall Brown, and this is LA Currents. Well, whether you like to dip or dive or splash or swim, the city of Los Angeles has lots of wonderful pools for you to enjoy this summer. And to tell us all about it, what you can and can't do, and how you can enjoy summer in the city, I'm delighted to be joined today by Monique Schwaneman. She is the Aquatic Facilities Manager 1. All right, you got to explain what that is.
So basically, I'm a full-time pool manager at the first level. So we have aquatic facility managers 1, 2, and 3, and I'm a 1.
All right. Well, today we are at this beautiful new pool, the Algin Sutton Pool, and it's also a spectacular location to enjoy seeing all of the wonderful people flying into Los Angeles. Lots of airplanes going by, but we'll have fun with it anyway. Lots of fun things for people to do in Los Angeles. There are a lot of community pools, are there not?
There are, yes. We have a multitude of pools in the Pacific region, in the Metro, in the Valley, and in the South region, like here.
Yeah. All right, so lots and lots of seasonal pools. But
yes,
when you come to the pool, you should know a few things about, what you should wear and what you can enjoy. So let's start with the very basics. How does somebody get to come to one of the community pools?
Absolutely. Well, you can go ahead and find which pools are open by visiting our website at swimla.org. Once you find that out, come on in, make sure that you have a swimsuit. So it has to be the swimsuit material. And of course, if you need to have a full cover-up for religious reasons or personal reasons, that is totally fine, as long as it's that swimsuit material. So make sure you bring that. We don't allow flotation devices of your own. And a lifeguard's favorite rule, always walk. So please don't come running in here. We will tell you otherwise. And yeah, we have recreational swim, lap swimming for adults, lessons for kids and adults. It's a lot of fun.
That's what I was going to say. It's really open for everyone,
Absolutely.
From the little guys all the way up to people who may have some physical disabilities. I notice right now you have an ADA chair here. Is that sort of something that's available in most of the pools?
Of course, that is standard at all of our LA City pools, yes.
Okay. So if someone wants to enjoy swimming, whether it be here at the LA pools or whether it be at a friend's or neighbor's or wherever they might go, there are some things to consider. What are some of the first things as a lifeguard you want people to realize when it comes to being safe in the water?
The first thing is communication with your party. Whoever you're swimming with, you never want to swim alone. You always want to swim with a buddy or a group, and then talk to each other. And don't be afraid about telling them what your limitations are. If you can only swim in the shallow end, that is totally fine. Just be open about that with the person that you're swimming with. Once you set those boundaries and let them know what your swimming level is, again, enter the water safely wherever you are. And it's also really important that if you're not entering the water yet, that your pool stays locked up, especially if you have a fence around it. No child should ever be left alone at a pool by themselves or have the opportunity to get into a pool by themselves.
I know, we always hear those terrible statistics where some tiny little toddler has fallen into a pool or something. I mean, the rate in which children drown over the summer is really something that could easily be avoided if people just think a little bit ahead of time.
Absolutely. Something that we do at our LA City pools is we do a swim assessment to gauge what level they're at for our swim lessons, but we also do a swim test before anyone goes into the deep end. So someone would have to do 2 laps there and back of freestyle or crawl stroke. So basically that just means that their hands are fully coming out of the water after they pull. And then once the lifeguard sees that, they are good to go and into the deep water. But if they're not ready for that yet, then they should stay in the shallow.
I want to talk about the swim lessons, but I want to keep on this safety topic for just a second, because I know when my daughter was little and we would go to, whether it be a friend's house or a community pool or something, you never necessarily knew who was in charge. So we came up with this thing where it may look silly, but it sure made us feel better. We would say, I'm the watcher. And we would acknowledge that. And we'd trade off, but we'd say, I'm the watcher.
Perfect. Yes, you're the water watcher. That is excellent. My family does that. I have a lot of cousins. So my aunts and uncles and my parents would trade off and do that as well. So making sure that you have a sober, alert adult that is watching over the kids, that is a great idea. And to be able to switch off, that's wonderful.
Yeah, because you never want that idea where I thought you were watching them. No, I thought you were watching them. That's a terrible thing to think about. Right. But all the opportunities that are available in this, wonderful environment, it's very tempting. I'm surprised they didn't let us actually do this in the water today. But having said that, what are some of the things that the LA City pools offer? You mentioned swim lessons.
Absolutely. Swim lessons for kids and for adults as well. So kids starting at the ages of 7 are allowed to get into the water and take swim lessons on their own.
Oh, wow. Is there actually an age in which it's too early to help? I mean, maybe not here at the LA pools, but too early to learn to swim?
Yeah, I think it's important to get kids comfortable with the water as soon as you can, even if it's just, kicking or blowing bubbles in the bathtub, because the more comfortable they are in a water environment, the easier their swim lesson is going to be.
So what about adult? What about some of the adult opportunities that are available at the LA City pools?
Right, so we do have lap swimming, and then we also have lessons for adults. We have beginners, we have intermediates, and then we have other fun classes like aquasize, which are our aqua aerobics classes.
And when it comes to the benefits of swimming, you're a lifelong swimmer. I mean, you started swimming when you were what?
I was actually in high school. I've loved the water since I was born, but I'm officially training in high school, actually.
Okay, so what are the benefits of, besides the fact it's beautiful, it's fun, what are some of the health things you can think about?
There are so many benefits for swimming. You're not going to have those, negative effects on your joints that maybe you might feel on your knees with running or with things like push-ups or anything like that. Working out is great all around, but the pool is therapeutic. You could do it at any level. You can get a good workout in, and it's good for people of all ages and people of all abilities as well.
So there are lots of pools around. Some of them are seasonal. Some of them are,
year-round.
Year-round. When it comes to the seasonal pools, what's the scope of time that we're looking at? I know that a bunch of them are going to be opening up really soon.
Absolutely, yes. So our opening time will be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
For seasonal. That's actually going to be all of our pools for the summer.
Okay. Do you ever have special events?
Sure. We do. I know some of the pools do summer night lights, and so that's a special event that we do at the pool and at some of our recreation centers as well. We always love to collaborate with our rec centers in the parks, so whenever there's something going on, we like to get involved in the big Rec and Parks family and help out as much as we can.
All right. So do you teach?
I do, yes.
All right. I am a 7-year-old. I've never gotten in the water before. I have absolutely no idea. I'm a little nervous. Kind of walk me through what it's like to teach a young person how to swim and how long it takes and what the process is.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing that I love to start out with is kicking, because you could do it holding onto the wall. So if they're not comfortable yet standing on their own, we ease on into the water. I have them take as much time as they need. They hold on to the railing as they walk in. They can even inch on and hold the gutter or hold the side of the deck, and then we just start kicking. It doesn't matter about form. I really just want them to have fun in the beginning and just make as big of a splash as they can.
Right.
The next thing that they do is, again, to get comfortable with the water, is we hold our noses and then we go underwater just to get them comfortable with submerging themselves fully and blow bubbles. Sometimes we'll wave at each other underwater. And then I go up the progression of the freestyle or the front crawl. So we do kicking, we work on breathing to the side, and then eventually we work on arms, and then we put it all together.
So I'm imagining that I remember when I was learning to swim that, you actually have your own internal flotation device.
Absolutely, yeah. So something that's really easy to help you float is you can hold your breath, because all that air is filling up in your lungs. We do something called a starfish. So you have your arms and your legs completely out to the side like a starfish, and you can float on your tummy or you can float on your back. A common little mistake that people tend to do is they want to see their body, they want to see their feet, so they're looking at their toes, but as soon as they look at their toes, they fold in half and they sink.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, so you want to look up at the sky. Even though it's sunny, you could close your eyes and relax, and you want to keep your stomach to the surface of the water too.
And that's probably a really good idea if you end up in a situation in which you're tired and you didn't realize it. Now we're jumping a little bit ahead. I'm no longer a 7-year-old. I'm someone who's out there swimming. And maybe for one reason or another, I have experienced an issue that's made me tired, and I need to just sort of reset.
Absolutely, yeah. You can go ahead and float on your back. That would be a great way, because if you're floating on your back, then you can breathe. right? Also, it's really important as a person that's watching the water to note that if someone's floating on their back, or if someone has their head above water, they might not be totally secure. So if you see someone that just has their face above water and their eyes are really big, that person might need help. And so you always want to, call out. And if you're not comfortable getting in the water on your own, you could use something like a pool noodle, or you could roll a towel and try and throw it to them if you don't have a ring buoy present to try and bring them in.
Yeah, what are you looking for as a lifeguard? What are the hot topics that they teach you to sort of survey? Obviously misbehaving, no running.
Yes.
But beyond that, what are some of the things that you're looking for while you're sitting in that chair?
So some of the common things that people assume that we see is hands flailing and people screaming. That's great if someone can call for help, but usually it doesn't look like that, because that's a lot of energy that person's exerting while they're trying to keep their body above water. So drowning is actually a lot more silent than you would think it is.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes, like I said, their head can barely keep above water, their eyes are really wide, or they're just staring at you trying to call out for help, but maybe they're too scared to. So you want to look for people flailing, but you also want to look for those silent ones that need help as well.
Okay, and then if you're that person in trouble, what's the best way to get someone, whether it be a lifeguard, fortunately, or whether it just be someone else that is out there, if you find yourself in a situation in which you are unable to do this, yell, this help, whatever?
Right. If you can wade one hand in the water back and forth like this, if you can, to try and get another one out to wave. If you can't do that, just keep kicking your legs as much as possible and try to call out for help. If your head is above water, really, really try and call out for help. Say help, lifeguard. Those are some two main words that'll help you in those scenarios.
And how long does it, this is a grim question, but we'll move on to so much more happier things. How long does it actually take to drown? How long can someone be under the water without any kind of oxygen source and be okay?
Well, that's a great question. The lifeguards, we're taught to scan the pool within a span of 8 to 10 seconds.
Oh, wow.
So we really don't want anyone underwater for any amount of time that's long in any case. So if it takes us only 8 to 10 seconds to scan this whole pool, that tells you that it happens pretty quickly.
Wow, okay. Well, so a lot more of the fun things that you can do. What are some kind of games that you can play in the water that allow, a family to enjoy the pool or, get some exercise without even calling it exercise? What are some of the fun things that would really enhance someone's experience at the pool?
Well, a favorite of our swim team members and our classes is sharks and minnows. So
I love it already.
Yes. So basically, you could, depending on how big your party is, you can have one shark, you could have two sharks. Basically, it's tag in the water.
Okay.
So you're gonna try and start on one side and get to the other side without getting tagged by the shark. If you get tagged by the shark, then you are now the shark, and there are more sharks and minnows until you only have one minnow left, which is the winner.
A very brave little minnow to see with all those sharks. And what about, do we still do Marco Polo? Is that still a thing? Do kids even know that anymore?
I know Marco Polo.
Okay.
I definitely hear about it. It's only tricky in a public pool because your eyes are closed and you might run into people, and some people might not like that as much, but it's definitely still a game that's fun and that we see a lot.
You just brought up an excellent point. Because we're in a community environment and it's a community pool, this is not your private property. This belongs to everybody. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the courtesy things that one should consider when they come to a pool? I imagine not spreading their stuff out all over the place, and I imagine being a little bit more conscientious in the water. So what are some of the things that you want people to consider when they're coming down to the pool? Maybe they have a lot of kids, maybe they have no kids, maybe they're elderly, maybe they're young. What are some of the things that you would hope people would consider?
Yeah, so at most of our LA City pools, we have a white line that goes around the perimeter of the pool, or here you can see that we have the drains that go around. So we actually ask that people keep all of their personal belongings behind that line, or if not in the locker rooms, just to keep that space so people have space to walk on the deck and get into the water safely. And then, respecting people's space in the water. Of course, kids are going to splash. Absolutely. It's a pool. Everyone wants to have fun. But, you don't need to take up the whole pool or the whole shallow end. So just being kind and courteous to other people. You may bump into someone, of course, but just be nice about it, and just, we're all here to have a good time.
Are some pools have areas sort of separated, designated, so that, little guys can't pass this line of buoys and that kind of thing?
Absolutely. All of our pools do. So all of our pools will have a safety line when we're open to the public that differentiates the shallow water from the semi-deep and then the deep water. And the deep water or the semi-deep water is generally where we have adult lap swimming. So that will not interfere with the shallow water recreation side.
And I would imagine I can see just literally over your shoulder, there's a no diving. I would imagine that I kind of was saying at the beginning, whether you like to dive or not, that's obviously something that needs to be conscientiously and very specifically outlined.
Absolutely. So in the shallow water, there is no diving allowed. In the deep water, it is in some locations, but again, you have to make sure that no one's around you. But that also goes for the shallow end too, because kids want to jump in the water. So making sure before you ever jump into a body of water, first of all, that you're safe, that it's at the depth that you're comfortable with, and then that no one is in your area.
How has being a lifeguard impacted your life? I mean, I know that on a very personal level, it kind of helped.
Yes. I love this job. My family just feels so much more secure that I have CPR and first aid practice. I love teaching people how to swim. My brother has autism, and I got him to love and enjoy the water, and for him to be safe in the water as well, which is huge. It's gotten me more involved with our adaptive community here as well. We teach adaptive swim lessons, so for anyone on any kind of ability level, they can come in and have a class that they're comfortable with. And then I met my husband doing this job. So this job is very near and dear to my heart, and everyone that I work with is just an extraordinary person who really loves to help the community.
It's a romantic thing. All right, but let's get with the adaptive. I mean, when you say adaptive classes, what specifically does that mean for someone who may not know the jargon?
Right, so they can have a learning disability or a physical disability. They can be an adult, they can be a child, and it's a class designed to work at their level with whatever they need. Sometimes I've had patrons who just kick and they float, and that's amazing, and sometimes I'll help, move their arms, but it's you could do one-on-one or group lessons, and it's just so beneficial and therapeutic. And sometimes the pool is, the only place that people really feel like they belong. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to give that to people.
I hadn't thought about the psychological attributes of swimming. I mean, the health attributes physically, but the mental attributes, just the security, the serenity of the water, that kind of thing. So you've noticed that with people who may not have thought that they just want to go swimming. It's just nice to be in the water.
It's calming, it's therapeutic, it's a great workout, and then it also gives kids a sense of independence too, in a safe monitored space. Some people learn best by looking at their peers, and then some learn best by just going and just trying it and failing and then succeeding afterwards. It's a really great learning process, and once you get it down, it's so fun.
You don't have to tell me, but I'm curious. What changes have you seen in your brother because of what he's been able to experience in the water?
Well, I think it's a lot of changes with our family internally, because I'm a hawk. I am definitely, I'm a second mom. My mom and dad call that too. So I'm very overprotective of my brother. We're only 6 years apart. He's 23. He's an adult. But just the fact that he knows how to tread water, even if he can't do the strokes completely, he likes to try things on his own. Like I said, that sense of independence. Mm-hmm. I'll do it, sister. I got it. And so just watching him have that independence, and then knowing that he's safe too, just makes such a big difference for me to stay at arm's length, or maybe 2 arms lengths, but I'm still around.
That's just fantastic. I mean, so many benefits of being able to enjoy this, besides the obvious of, getting out of the summer heat and then just relaxing in an environment like this. But again, you mentioned also that you should maybe think about some additional safety precautions like CPR and that kind of thing. Do pools offer those classes, or is that something that you suggest people do before?
Right, that's something that people can go on the American Red Cross website and look up. It's definitely beneficial. Like I said, I know that my family feels so much more secure knowing that I know those skills and my husband knows those skills. It really makes a big difference in, I think, your mental health, being around a scenario, especially that's not controlled, like in the ocean at the beach.
And is it tough to learn? I mean, maybe there's an intimidation factor that it sounds like it might be something that people would be afraid that they wouldn't be able to get. Is CPR a hard thing to learn?
I don't think so. I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years, but when I remember learning in the beginning, of course, it's going to take a few times, but I mean, it's compressions. You press down hard and fast in the center of their chest, and then it's breaths. You're tilting their head open so their airway is open, and then you're breathing in to make sure that they can breathe. I mean, it is pretty simple. The only thing that I would say intimidating is if it happens in real life, but that's going to be intimidating to a lifeguard too. But at some point, as long as you know those skills, it just takes over. Muscle memory takes over, you know what to do, and it's better to be prepared in those scenarios than not.
And you mentioned the fact that, the ocean swimming, there's also other LA city opportunities that are not necessarily structured pools like this.
Right.
There's paddle, there's water, there's other places too, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. So we have Cabrillo Beach that's run by our open water lifeguards.
Okay.
We also have Hansen Dam that's run by our open water lifeguards as well.
So the lessons you actually learn in a pool can be applied to ocean swimming with plus. I mean, you do need to know the ocean. It's a little, this I can kind of anticipate what's going to happen with this water.
Right.
You may not necessarily anticipate what's happening in the ocean, but the skills you use here can be applied very easily, I imagine.
Absolutely, yes. There are a multitude of things that apply when you go to open water, but the same things are always key. Communicating with your party, swim with a buddy, don't swim alone, knowing how to call for help, and then having the basics of swim down will definitely help.
So what are some of the fun things you've witnessed as a lifeguard in community pools? What are some of the joyous moments you've seen?
I feel so happy when students, whether they're children or adults, have that pride in them when they finish that lesson, or they finally breathed on their side when they've been picking their head up this whole time. Just the joy and in their faces that they know they nailed it. It's just heartwarming for me. I love it.
All right. So what are the different swim strokes? Because I remember, YMCA growing up, you have the crawl.
Yes, front crawl.
Okay.
Or freestyle.
Okay. And then?
Backstroke.
Okay.
When you're on your back. And then breaststrokes. That's the one where you reach forward, you come up to breathe, and then you go back down.
Okay.
And then butterfly.
Which is evil.
I think it's, for me personally, it's the most difficult, but some of my coworkers love it. That is the Michael Phelps stroke. Yeah, your arms come up overhead, and then you do the dolphin kick with your legs in the back.
Okay, and there's still the side stroke.
There's the side stroke, yes, so you're reaching to the side, and then it's basically, so breaststroke, your legs come in and out. Side stroke, it's like a scissor, so they're gonna go up and down like this to push that water behind you.
Okay, I always like that one.
Yes.
Because that one seems to be a more relaxing one than some of the other ones you just said. And then I would think the most important thing someone should learn right off the bat would be just to tread water.
That would be great. Treading water, it's a little bit difficult for people to learn at first, but once you get it down, it's like riding a bike. You're not going to forget it. Your legs, you can go in, which is the most common that I see. Some people prefer to have their legs go out, but basically you're rotating your legs like helicopter propellers to keep your body above water.
Which one of those takes the most energy if you're actually looking to, maybe get a little bit more fit? And which one is the least amount of energy if you're just looking to hang out in the water and enjoy the sun?
I think it is personal for each swimmer, but I think a majority of people would say that butterfly takes the most amount of energy.
Right.
For me, I played water polo for 4 years, so treading water does not take a lot of energy for me personally. So if I just wanted to relax, I would tread water or do the side stroke like you mentioned.
water polo. All the action's actually under the water. Nobody sees it. It's pretty intense.
Right.
That must have taught you a lot of lessons growing up.
It sure did, and I was goalie, so
Oh.
I tried to keep my distance from people, but elbows were thrown at some points, and you just got to do the best that you can.
In terms of the scope of what happens within the city, you know, I would imagine all of the lifeguards are thoroughly trained, and there's a lot of testing that goes on, you know, just because of the fact that you're responsible for a vast array of people. Los Angeles is incredibly diverse. The pools are in random, you know, locations all over the city. So what is the skill set of the lifeguards that are actually supervising these community pools?
So all of our lifeguards go through a lifeguard academy program. And so we do swimming skills, we do CPR, and we do first aid.
Wow.
So the swimming skills range from, you know, just being able to know how to swim within a certain amount of time. We do a dummy tow, so we go down to the bottom of the pool, pick up a dummy, and have to be able to tow it back and get it out of the water. We also do a series of different entrances and exits from the water based on what that patron and help might need. I am so proud of the work that my department does and how well trained our employees are. And you can see it when you drive by. Our lifeguards are at attention. You won't see an LA City lifeguard like this, or you shouldn't. They are at attention at the front of their seat, really watching the water. And if you drive by other pools, that's not always the case. So whether I know that I work for this department, but I feel so secure when my family comes to swim in an LA City pool, just because I know how rigorous the training is and how serious our department takes that training.
Is it a large department, by the way?
Oh yeah, it's a large department because we have so many pools throughout the city of LA.
Wow. Okay. And is there, if someone's actually interested, I know this is not necessarily what we're talking about, but if someone's interested in getting involved with the LA lifeguard, how's the process there?
So we do have a junior lifeguard program that they can join at the age of 10. It goes from ages 10 to 17. So they can try and get into one of those at our LA City pools. If not, whenever there's a locker attendant job opportunity opening up, a lot of our locker attendants end up becoming lifeguards. Or like me, I just swam in an LA City pool while I was in high school, and then someone gave me a flyer and said, "Do you want to be a lifeguard?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. I need a job to get me through college." So, you know, it's open to anyone and everyone. You do need to know how to swim. So if you don't know how to swim yet, I would enroll in one of our lessons, and that would definitely be the first step.
Wow, that's exciting. All right, and last but not least, we're sitting in the sun here.
Yes.
But people should also be conscientious when they're coming to a pool to think about skin safety.
Absolutely. We see it so many times where kids are so excited and they slap on that sunscreen and they jump right in that water and it immediately comes off, right? So it's really important that you apply sunscreen, that you apply it well before you get in the water, maybe 15 minutes before you get in the water is a safe rule. And then if you get out of the water for a period of time, we'll go ahead and reapply, dry off, reapply before you get back in the water.
And are we still worried about when we eat and get in the water?
Well, there is no food or drink allowed on our decks.
There you go.
So it's not really a problem. Go ahead and eat outside, let your stomach settle, and then you're free to come in.
Okay, so that's a good point. What can you bring and what shouldn't you bring? No food.
No food. You can bring water, nothing glass. So you can't have like a glass container of water. It has to be in a plastic container. A towel. We don't provide towels, so you do bring your own. Sunscreen, definitely, and then a bathing suit. So it can't be the shorts that you were wearing all day or a regular t-shirt. If you want something to cover up, it has to be a rash guard. Just that standard swimsuit material.
And also for women's swimsuits, they can't necessarily be the thing you may or may not see on the cover of a Sports Illustrated.
Right. Again, this is a community pool, so we want to be respectful to everyone and wear something that you're comfortable, you know, jumping in the water with or swimming in. That's not going to come off.
But there's, after you've left, there's showers and restrooms and all that kind of thing.
Yes, there are locker rooms with showers and restrooms.
Lockers as well.
Yes.
So you can put your personal belongings.
Well, yes, we have locker attendants. So at some sites we have lockers, but at most of the time, there's a check-in system where you get a bag and we exchange it for a number. So, and your bag is hung up on that specific number and you just take the pin and clip it on your towel until you're ready to go.
Well, I got to tell you that this pool looks so appealing right now that if we did not have microphones on us right now, I would be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, I would jump in, absolutely, and make a big fool out of myself, but I'd enjoy it. It's been really fun talking to you, and if people want any more information about the LA City pools, what's the best way for them to find out?
Yes, swimla.org.
Swimla. All right. Well, it was fun. I can't wait to see you out on the water, and hopefully we get to talk again soon.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. And that's a wrap on this LA Current.